I believe Kaiir Elam is about to have a big bounce back season, and we're going to get into why that is. Unlike many others, the Nickel City Mafia crew has never written this young man off. Jake and I wanted Kaiir when the Bills drafted him in the first round of the 2022 draft. Kaiir has good size, standing at 6'1.5", 191 pounds, and his 40 time was 4.39 at the combine. He has all the physical attributes you could ask for in a corner. Were there concerns coming out of college? Yes, some of the analysts said he tends to reach and press and can be too handsy downfield. NFL Draft Buzz said he should be looked at as a boom or bust prospect. Another source said he grabs too much. But no matter the source, they all had Kaiir Elam as a late day one or day two corner in the draft. On draft day in 2022, 4 corners were taken in the first round, which included Derek Stingley Jr. taken 3rd overall by the Texans, Sauce Gardner taken 4th overall by the Jets, Trent McDuffie taken 21st overall by the Chiefs, and Kaiir Elam drafted 23rd overall by the Buffalo Bills. The Bills actually moved up 2 spots to get him. Despite being the first round pick for the Bills in 2022, it was actually a 6th rounder, Christian Benford, also drafted in 2022, who won the starting job. This had many of us scratching our heads. Even though Benford won the starting job, he only played 363 total snaps compared to Elam's 570 snaps, which was due to Benford missing 7 games due to injuries. Benford would also miss 2 games in 2023. Between the two, Elam outshined Benford in 2022, with PFF grading Elam a 64.4 and Benford a 55.7. While Elam had a higher reception rate against him, Kaiir had a better quarterback rating against due to the fact that Elam had 3 interceptions on the year versus Benford's 1. Elam had interceptions against Kenny Pickett, Pat Mahomes, and Skylar Thompson in the wildcard game against the Dolphins. You have to remember that Kaiir was a very good wide receiver in high school, and if the ball touches his hands, odds are he'll be picking it off, unlike many other corners who aren't able to make a play when the ball touches their hands. People were worried about Elam getting penalties because of his handsiness, as they say, his technique, but it was Benford who had 5 penalties versus 3 for Elam. Let's take a look at Kaiir Elam's first interception of his career. It's week 5 against the Pittsburgh Steelers, Kenny Pickett at the helm, and Elam is matched up against Deontay Johnson. Now watch how when Deontay Johnson makes his move and sprints upfield, how quickly Kaiir is able to react, staying in perfect position and making the easy interception. Kaiir had help over the top, but don't dismiss his ability to react and be in position to make a play. In week 6 against the Kansas City Chiefs in Arrowhead, Kaiir Elam gets another interception, his 2nd of his young career. And here you're going to watch Kaiir playing zone, keeping his eye on Pat Mahomes, and also keeping an eye on Clyde Edwards-Helaire, which is his responsibility out of the backfield as this play develops. As Mahomes rolls to the right, Kaiir sticks with his guy back into the end zone and then comes off his guy to make a beautiful interception right in front of MBS. That was a big momentum shift for the Buffalo Bills in the game, and the Bills did go on to win that game in Arrowhead. Here is Kaiir Elam's 3rd interception in the year. In a wildcard game against the Dolphins, he intercepts Skylar Thompson as he tries to throw to Trent Sherfield. Again, Kaiir in the perfect position to make the play. People, we're starting to see a pattern here, a very good pattern. This kid can make plays. He's a ball hawk. And if he touches the ball, if it comes his way, he's making the interception. Let's go. So in total, in 2022, Kaiir Elam had 3 interceptions, which includes his regular season and his postseason. You know how many Trent McDuffie had? 0. Do you know how many Sauce Gardner had? 2. Now, to be fair, Kaiir's includes his playoff game, whereas Sauce didn't make the playoffs, unfortunately. But during this regular season, Sauce had 2, Kaiir had 2. Derek Stingley, he had 1. Christian Benford, he had 1. Again, I don't know how I can emphasize this anymore. This kid makes plays. So how did those 4 corners taken in the first round of the 2022 draft compare during the 2022 season? Sauce Gardner had the highest PFF grade with an 87.9. Trent McDuffie with a 74.9. Kaiir Elam had a 64.5. Derek Stingley really struggled with a 49.1. While Kaiir had the highest reception rate against him, which was 71.7%, Elam had the second lowest quarterback passing rating against him, finishing second behind Gardner with an 83.7. Sauce was just ridiculous, with a QB rating against a 53.5. Again, lower being better in this case. So you might be asking me, Mike, how can Kaiir give up the highest reception rate but be the second best in quarterback passing rating? It's all about the interceptions, which is a big factor in the QB passer rating. Again, I'm going to keep saying this throughout the show. This kid makes plays. Elam finished the 2022 season strong in 2 playoff games, giving us hope we'd see even more progression in year 2, which, by the way, all 3 other corners that I mentioned taken in this first round went on to improve significantly in year 2. So our hopes were high. Let's go. However, in 2023, things went south for Kaiir. Kaiir saw the field for only 210 snaps in 3 games, one of those games being the wildcard game against Pittsburgh. For the entire year, he was targeted 16 times for a 68.8 reception percentage against, and intercepted Mason Rudolph in the 2023 wildcard round. Now I'm going to show you the interception in the wildcard game against Pittsburgh, where he intercepts Mason Rudolph. But I'm going to show you 2 plays earlier, and this is where people always have concerns about him being too handsy. That's Kaiir, that is. And he is watching Deontay Johnson, and you're going to see that he impedes. He grabs, he tugs that shoulder, impeding Deontay Johnson from completing his route. But guess where that pass was going? And if he doesn't tug, that's probably a touchdown from Mason Rudolph to Deontay Johnson. Now, live another day. People, live another day. It's okay. If you're going to be beat, you feel you're going to be beat, it's okay to make that play once in a while. It's okay to get that holding call, because 2 plays later, Kaiir gets revenge. On a crucial play down by the goal line, he has amazing coverage on Deontay Johnson and undercuts him for the INT. Again, these are huge momentum shifters in a football game. Kaiir Elam makes plays. Do you know he's only had a total of 62 times where he's been targeted, 4 interceptions? So that's an average of every 15 and a half targets, he gets an INT. If he continues that statistic, this kid's going to be a Hall of Famer. I'm not saying he will, of course. I'm just saying every 15 and a half times he's targeted, he has an interception in his first 2 years. I mean, let that sink in, people. Let that sink in for a moment. Let's go. In 2023, Elam was inactive for most of the year. We just couldn't figure out why. And during training camp, there were reports of Kaiir struggling, heated altercations with Steph Diggs. Elam had broken up a play against Diggs, and apparently Diggs and OC at the time, Ken Dorsey, had words with Elam about him grabbing, which was also a huge point of contention between Diggs and Kaiir in 2022. What's the common denominator there? Stefon Diggs. I mean, if your top receiver and your team, your alpha, your number 1 receiver is complaining about a player, it's not going to look good. Dorsey's complaining about this guy. It's not going to look good. Maybe Kaiir was playing within the rules. Now, to be clear, use of hands are allowed, but very subjective. Defensive backs are generally allowed to use their hands to jam or redirect a receiver within the first 5 yards from the line of scrimmage. However, beyond this distance, defensive backs must be cautious not to hold, grab, or impede the progress of the receiver. Placing a hand on the receiver's hip may be permissible as long as it does not constitute holding or significantly impede the receiver's ability to run his route. The key is that the contact should not give the defensive back an unfair advantage or hinder the receiver's ability to make a play on the ball. We later learned, after the Bills acquired Rasul Douglas at the trade deadline, that Elam had been playing through a torn deltoid ligament in his foot since preseason, and that general manager Brandon Beane also declined trade offers for Elam. That speaks volumes right there, folks. That speaks volumes. Now, as far as this whole grabbing handsy thing, let me show you some examples of arguably the best cornerback in the league, Mr. Sauce Gardner. Let me show you some plays against the Buffalo Bills last year where he also gets handsy. I'm telling you, folks, it's okay. You just have to stay within the boundaries. So here's a play where Sauce is matched up against Gabe Davis. Watch how handsy he is throughout the route. Now, no penalty is called here, but my goodness, well beyond 5 yards, Sauce Gardner's very handsy. You could say he tugged on that hip, impeding the route. But no penalty was called, and the ball was actually thrown to the right side of the end zone. Gabe was cutting inward. But you can see, very handsy, right? Similar to what Kaiir likes to play. Now here's a play where Sauce Gardner is lined up against Steph Diggs. Well beyond the 5 yards, you can see that he definitely impedes, grabs, damn near mugs Stephon Diggs. And of course, a flag was thrown for holding. Again, live another day, but he clearly would have been beat and Josh would have found him as Josh Allen was rolling to the left looking for Diggs. If Sauce did not impede, that was an easy touchdown. So again, live another day. The best cornerbacks do it. Hands are part of the game if you stay within the boundaries. Just saying, folks, take it easy on Kaiir when you're talking about him being too handsy. All good corners do it. So here we are now in 2024, a new beginning for Elam. Remember, folks, this young man is only 23 years old. Heck, there were players drafted this year that are older than Kaiir. So very young, remember that. This is fantastic for the Bills. And guess what? He received some good press at minicamp this year. Kaiir was able to get some additional work due to time missed by both Rasul Douglas and Christian Benford. Kaiir had interceptions back-to-back days. On one of the days, he jumped the route on Keon Coleman and intercepted Josh Allen. Guess what? No Diggs this year? No negative press for Kaiir. Coincidence or not? I don't know, you tell me. If somebody is constantly getting into altercations with you, the number one receiver on the team, and John Butler, who has now left, the secondary coach last year, was getting irritated with that and maybe, I don't know, lost faith in Kaiir. I don't know, because 2022, I saw a lot of promise. What the heck happened here? So, no Diggs, no negative press, nothing but good things about Kaiir to be said. That's a huge change, folks. That's important. This kid's confidence is growing. With Jahmile Addae now coaching the corners and new defensive coordinator Bobby Babich at the helm, this could be just what the doctor ordered when it comes to Kaiir. Coach Addae was recently named cornersback coach on February 7th, 2024, after spending 17 years coaching in the collegiate ranks. He worked the last 2 seasons as the Miami Hurricanes secondary coach, and in 2021, he was the defensive backs coach for the national champs Georgia Bulldogs. I love the direction the Bills are going with the younger coaching staff. Kaiir should get his opportunities this year and should be the number 3 corner out of the gate. But I wouldn't be surprised if he becomes a starter later in the year. With Rasul Douglas soon to be 30 and entering the final year of his contract, this will be a great opportunity for Kaiir to showcase himself for a full-time opportunity in the future. So Mafia, are you with me or against me on these takes? Let me know in the comments below, and remember to smash that like button if you enjoyed this and drop a nickel on that subscribe button as it's absolutely free. Kaiir Elam can and will make plays. He just needs the opportunity, and with this new coaching staff, watch out. He will have a huge bounce back season this year. Thanks for stopping by. Go Bills.